Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome you back to our live streamed Suzerain DESPOT run, which is actually nearing its end. Or so I suppose. I mean, who knows if there's going to be a random extension that takes this one well past the length of the previous playthrough we had. But I feel like we're close to the end of our DESPOT run. It's been a good run. Things have been going interestingly. Last session had a couple of interesting twists and turns on top of the interesting twists and turns that came the episode prior. But we're not going to waste too much time today. We're going to dive right into the action and see how things play out. As I do hit that resume button, though, I just want to check real quick, chat. How's the audio coming through? I know last time we were live, there were a couple of issues with audio. I want to make sure that everything's sounding crystal clear, not too loud, not too quiet, and that I'm not clipping. Again, still, I guess, messing around with some stuff, tweaking some stuff, trying to get everything perfect as can be. But as we dive in, just want to say hello as well to all of y'all hanging out right off the bat over here in chat. We have with us Elsa Nineber, Kate Percy, Instinct 245. We have with us as well Natalie P, Ted Knight, how goes, Jamie Moodley. If I could get my cursor to show up over here, then I could actually scroll through chat. We got Traps Wolf Gamer Lol, how's it going, buddy? I always say lol, bad habit I developed a long time ago. LOL, I suppose. Zuka Dragon, how goes? Can't stay long, gotta go soon. Sounds good. Well, thanks for coming through, buddy, and saying hi. We got with us Robo Gold as well. Traps Grateful. Y'all having a wonderful, wonderful Friday, I hope. I hope your week has treated you well, and I hope you have an exciting weekend ahead of you. Try not to look at the news like I did in the middle of the night last night. Keep you up. Ricky Cool, how's it going, buddy? Glad you can make it. And a warm welcome as well, of course, to all of y'all who are not in chat, but are watching, perhaps away from your keyboards, otherwise lurking, or perhaps not logged in, or joining us for the VOD. Hope you've had a beautiful week behind you, and I hope you're excited, as I am, for everything to come today. Last session had, like I was saying, some interesting twists and turns. We saw the economy improve, and then we saw it get worse, and then we saw it improve again. We saw the attempt at getting women's rights bills passed sort of fail, didn't even make it past the assembly. So that worked out for us. We didn't have to break Monica's heart again. In fact, you could say we kind of reconciled. We repaired the broken bridge, so that was all great. Apart from that, though, on the topic of broken bridges, the situation with Roomberg is well, that's a bridge on fire. Our escalation has happened. They shot down one of our planes that they claimed was over their airspace, and then to retaliate, we shot down one of theirs that was actually flying over Helgeland, and we're going to see the consequences of that today, I'm sure. We had a conversation with the leader of the what's it called? United Contana. That's again the Soviet equivalent, the Warsaw Pact equivalent in this world. Tried to convince us to join them. We had a meeting with them. We denied them the deal because we're not interested in aligning with any of the superpowers, and they were very much not interested in extending assistance if we weren't interested in allowing them to establish missile bases and stuff like that in our glorious sovereign Sordland. So that is unfortunate. At the same time, there are escalations happening as well that are tangentially related to us. This island over here has been a sore spot between these two nations for quite some time, and that's all coming to a head. Of course, it affects us because Agnolia were old allies of ours who sort of spat in our face, metaphorically speaking, but also any tension over here is likely to affect us because these are important naval routes and stuff like that, so a little worried about what's happening over here as well. Now, in the meanwhile, we actually haven't seen or heard anything from Peter in quite some time, our vice president. He's kind of gone MIA, so I'm a little concerned about him. And we also haven't heard anything about Livia Suno, she claimed to be Livia, but the Roombergian spy has been missing for quite some time. We've chosen what to do with her in terms of, quote-unquote, taking care of her, but we had told Lucian to sort of tell her that everything's fine and she's okay. I don't know if she caught wind that something's up, that we're planning on assassinating her, and if she sort of ran off. So I'm a little nervous about that as well. Hopefully we'll get answers to all these questions over the course of today's session. But that's pretty much the recap. I feel like that covers all of our bases, though of course we do have the news left over from the previous session that we can look at to remind us. Gonna be one of those days every once in a while. Well, that was funny. Literally getting interrupted by a second real instant follow-up crash. This is the punishment I deserve for not being quicker and transferring away from Streamlabs. It's just been such a hectic couple of days. I thought I'd be done transferring everything over, but I didn't realize just how much I relied on one centralized set of software, or whatever you want to say. It's been quite the journey in sort of transferring everything over to new stuff. And this is the punishment I deserve, I suppose. But folks, if the stream does kind of like drop for a couple seconds here and there, it's because Streamlabs is crashing again. My apologies. But as I was saying before I got rudely cut off by that crash, we were in the middle of reading this geopolitical article last session when construction, either upstairs or downstairs, I don't know, it sounded like it was all around me, kicked off, and we weren't able to keep reading. So we're going to pick things up over there, and we will we'll see how everything plays out. Lucas Davies, things are going great for myself. Hopefully you're doing well as well. Harry, how's it going, buddy? Kolovec, how goes, bud? And Jazzy B, how goes? Great to see some of y'all joining in. JLZP, no, not late at all, buddy. We just finished our recap, and we're just about to kick things off over here. So let's get started with our reading of this, because there were 3 articles with Geopolitical, 1, 2, and 3, and we were like a sentence in when we had to call the session last time. So, Sordland shoots down Rumburg warplane in retaliation. Following Rumburg's demands for reparations from Sordland, the tensions have increased dramatically between the two countries. Yesterday, a Sordish warplane has been shot by the Rumburg anti-air systems, and all the pilots on board have been killed. As per the information from Rumburg, a Sordish warplane has trespassed. Man, the English in this is really not top notch, is it? Get MCC, thank you very much for subscribing, buddy. Hope you're enjoying whatever it is you're watching. If it is this, then hit that like button down below. If it's something else, then hopefully you watch this at some point. But yeah, okay, hold on. I feel like I gotta like correct this as I read it. As per the information from Rumburg, the Sordish warplane had trespassed into Rumburgian airspace, whereas Sordish military reports claim that the plane was inside Sordish borders when it was shot. The international community is unclear of the certainty of the reports from both sides. Immediately after the incident, Sordland retaliated by sending their warplanes into the Rumburg airspace and destroying a Rumburgian jet. The tensions between Rumburg and Sordland continue to increase as the largest troop deployments in the last decade began in eastern Merkopa. That's interesting. That's not; those aren't the orders that I remember giving. I didn't say we should fly into their airspace and attack them, and neither is that the report that we received from our own military. So, is the news reporting things accurately or inaccurately? Like, what's going on over here? I'm a little concerned. The other thing to mention is we are also planning a military parade, hoping that a show of sort of military capability will get Rumburg to back down, because we don't have allies, we don't have any friends to help us in that war if one does kick off, so I'm a little concerned. We have half an ally in Welland, right? So a little concerned. If you aren't being lied to about the plane, it's awfully convenient. Well, I mean, so the shooting down their plane, sorry, them shooting down our plane in their airspace is something that works in our favor, and that's what I've been told by our military, officials and stuff. But as far as shooting down their airplane, I never ordered warplanes into their airspace. We shot down one of their planes in our airspace. If this is true, if we actually flew into their airspace and shot a jet down in their airspace, then we have escalated. We didn't do like a level retaliation. We escalated by actively entering their airspace to shoot a jet down. So hopefully that's not what actually happened. But at the end of the day, does it matter what actually happened? What matters is what people believe happened. So I'm a little concerned about that, because that could go, that could hurt us. Hegel would take all the necessary steps. In a televised address, Chancellor Emmerich Hegel claimed intensive fighting was taking place between the Agnolian forces and the locals of Helgeland, resulting in the massacres of ethnic Volks living on the island. He portrayed the conflict as a national struggle and compared it to the independence wars of the former colonies in Rica. Hegel said, Volksland, as the guarantor of Helgeland's security, would take all the necessary steps to prevent mass atrocities committed against the islanders. Van Horten said in a television interview that Volkslandians must withdraw their harassment squad from the Markian Sea before any diplomatic talks can happen. So this is about the island in between these two nations up north here. And finally, Volksland blockades Helgeland. According to reports coming from Helgeland, the island is under complete blockade by the Volkslandian Navy. 6 ships that transported goods to the island were forced to retreat when the Volkslandian fleet fired at them. It seems Chancellor Hegel decided to send troops into Helgeland and seize control of the island. But why does Helgeland matter to Volksland? Located in the middle of the Markian Sea, Helgeland has strong historical and cultural ties with Volksland. It was a Volkslandian territory before it was annexed by Agnolia years ago, and one of the pretexts of this upcoming invasion by Volksland has been to defend its citizens in Helgeland. But Helgeland's strategic importance goes a lot further. The port of Helgiport, home of the Markian Sea fleet, is vital to Volksland's power in the Markian Sea and beyond. Of course, there is also a large group of Volgish living in Helgeland who see the island as part of Volksland. The Volkslandian nationalists have always been vocal about seeing the island as an integral part of their country. I'm very curious how this sort of tension plays into the tension we have against or with Rumburg, and if they'll like cause a, I don't know, cataclysmic event, because I feel like that's the case. And yeah, Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if we're both responsible for entering each other's airspace 100%. The truth always lies somewhere in the middle, doesn't it? Lackhaven Times. Right, we did read this. Yeah, we've already read this. I don't know why they're highlighted like this. But just as a reminder, we did invest in the young swords, and it's working out exactly as we'd hoped. They're present at voting booths and things like that. So we're hoping that funding the young swords is going to help turn the election our way. Let's put it that way. Meanwhile, the Hull Sword Post over here reports on Sordland's largest military parade ever. President Rain has announced Sordland's largest military parade ever to display the strength of the Swordish armed forces to the world. During the glorious day, tanks will roll, jets will fly, and our soldiers will march. Young and old Swordish citizens will come together to once again cheer for our soldiers. The parade will send a clear message to our enemies. Beware. President Rain will be joining the parade with a motorcade and a drive through Victory Avenue. That sounds like an ideal spot to get assassinated. The mere mention of the assassination there, and everything cuts off. It's one of those days, isn't it? Streamlabs has crashed like 10 times in 5 minutes. What the hell, man? It's like, chill, relax. Conrado C, how's it going, buddy? Glad you could join in. You haven't missed too much. No. We're just reading the news from the end of the previous session. And RoboGold, sorry, I don't follow that question. Is the stream really going to hit its mark? What do you mean? And Beast Orfer, how's it going, buddy? Glad you can make it. Yeah, hang in there, folks. Hang in there. I'm relatively quick at reacting to when Streamlabs crashes on me, but whoa, boy, that's it's happening a lot right now. Hopefully that's the last of it. But let's not jinx it. Kibner condemns BFF terror. In a televised address, Casaro Kibner condemned the BFF attacks and called the country to be vigilant. The Blood separatists are doing everything in their power to destroy this great nation through their Blood terror. The region of Bergia, where they gather their support, is the root of this problem. We can't let the Blood militants kill our innocent people anymore. We must march to where they hide, said Kibner in his address. Many have criticized Kibner and called the speech very dangerous for Sordland's unity. You know, that's why it crashed this time, because of this Kibner speech over here. All right, all's looking decently well, I would say. A little concerned, but you know, hopefully it'll be. Oh, hey, hello. Campaign ad boost. Oh, it's time to finally lose some of that personal wealth, isn't it? It's time to finally spend some of that personal wealth to help the election campaign. And as I say that, Harry comes through with a super chat. Thank you very much, buddy. A tribute to the Streamlabs gods. Appreciate it greatly. Hopefully they smile upon that tribute and show us some mercy. I appreciate it greatly, bud. Again, and as always, that kind of stuff really helps support the streams and the channel and just keeps it all, you know, viable and and alive. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate it greatly, bud. And RoboGold, yeah, 2-hour streams on Fridays. So hopefully we'll make it there. Hopefully we'll make it there, and hopefully we'll make some actual progress as well. So what's the deal here? The election of 1957 is approaching fast, and a massive election campaign effort is taking shape. The public campaign funds available to the party are covering most of the costs, but we could put our own funds to increase the chances of victory. Different scale advertisement campaigns for the Reign 1957 bid can be enacted. I mean, if there's ever time to spend money, right? If there's ever time to use our personal wealth, this is it, right? This is it, right? Oh man, it's all of our personal wealth. I mean, well, what else are we going to use it for? I think we should go all the way, right? I think we need to spend all of our personal wealth, because if we don't win the re-election, that's it. We're dead. Literally, we're actually dead. They'll find our body in an alley somewhere. You know what I mean? And on that note, happy Friday to you as well, David. How's it going, buddy? Glad you could join in. Yeah, no nest egg for if we lose. It's true, but at the same time, I think if we lose, we're dying. You know what I mean? Like as we give our like concession speech or whatever it's called, we'll get assassinated. You know, we won't even make it to our car afterwards. So I think we got to go all in. The reign of rain is necessary. All in, spend all the money. Yeah, I think so. Let's do it. Wow. Hey, well, hey, I'm glad we made all those investments so that we do have the money to spend. Because otherwise, well, I think we'd be much more screwed than we already are. So, medium scale ad campaign will hopefully buy us some favors. Let's go for it. Nothing like a good ad campaign, right? There it is. Decrease is an understatement, man. There it is. Yeah, it hurts to spend all of the money. But again, if we have to stay in power to reap the rewards, right? And if that's the only way to do it, then so be it. We'll find more money. We'll make more money. I'm sure Monge will have more deals for us all in due time. Boy, I hope he does. Election speech at the USP HQ. Oh, we're already here, are we? All right, fair enough. I don't think there's anything else on the map to deal with, so let's go ahead and give this speech and hopefully make sure that the USP stays behind us. I didn't even think about that. What happens if the USP has lost faith in us and they decide to put somebody else in charge? -1 and 0, truly a successful capitalist. You got to spend money to make money, right? Grateful because it was convenient. It has lost its convenience, but it's not like shifting has been easy. But I am shifting away from it. Went bankrupt for this country. You can't ask for a better president. Exactly, Ricky Cool. That itself should be the ad campaign. I spent all my hard-earned, legally earned money. Vote right. All right. The sun was starting to peek through the blinds of my suite in the Grand Chariot Hotel in Anrica. I hadn't slept at all that night. I was too busy thinking about how I would rally my party's conservative base at today's election kickoff. I was just pulling on my clothes when 2 soft, sharp knocks came at the door. Lucien. Good morning, sir. Morning, Lucien. Lucien unclasped his briefcase and took out a small, disc-shaped device. After scanning the room with it, he gave a satisfied nod. It's about your investigation into the oligarchs. As you know, the police failed to turn up any evidence on Marcel Caronti, but there's been a very interesting update regarding Mr. Tusk. Before I begin, I have to ask if you're sure you wish to follow through on this investigation. After all, Tusk has been an ally throughout your term. Oh man, why does he have to put it that way? That makes me nervous about this move. I was hoping this would come up before re-election, you know, and then we could make a move and be independent of these so-called puppet masters, right? Oh boy. Yeah, I'm like, has he worn out his usefulness? Is it time to bring him down? What do you guys think? I feel like either way I should hear what's going on. You know? Either way, I feel like I should know what the deal is and then make a call. Can you trust Tusk? It's true. Can we? He already tried to like, you know, pull a fast one on us, right? And if it wasn't for us getting along with Saul in that one meeting, in that one fateful meeting in the washroom, we might have already been removed from power. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. I do love it. Alright, let's go for it. He's worn out his usefulness. Time to bring him down. Yeah, Ricky, cool. I'm like, I was feeling that way as well. It's like, do I go with my gut or do I go with what I think is the wise answer? We'll just call Carl if things don't work out? Boy. As you wish, says Lucian. Lucian pulled out a folder and opened it. The Secret State Police have looked further into Walter Tusk's foreign ties and found some very unsettling information. One of his corporation's subsidiaries is directly involved in smuggling and selling Lumbergian Ka-74s within Sordland. What? That traitor! This is treason on the highest level. There is no doubt Tusk must be punished. Would you like to go forth with his arrest and trial, sir? Oh, arrest? I want him killed. Just have him murdered or have him suffer in jail. I mean, let's not forget, his actions made our lives that much more difficult. If it wasn't for his supplying of Ka-74s to the various terrorists in our nation, right? Life would have been so much easier. Oh, that's a good point. If he suffers in jail, he has dirt on us. True, we need to have him killed. He's a direct traitor. This is treason of the highest order. I see a lot of calls for 2. Arrest! I want him killed! Lucian looked at me questioningly for a second, then nodded smoothly. If you say so, sir. If you say so, sir. I'll give the orders to Mr. Greaser. Now that that's settled, I'll let you prepare for your rally. I almost forgot. The Archpriest of Dare couldn't be present today, but wanted to relay a message of support to you and your family. What did he say? I bless the rains down in Anrica. God damn it, I completely forgot about that line, man. I completely forgot about that line. Oh, I'm very pleased. But I'm a little nervous about Lucian looking at me questioningly for a second there. I hope he's not starting to grow a conscience. He's been with us for a while. He's been on the same page as us for a while, but I don't like that questioning look there, even for a split second. Not a fan of that. A little nervous. I don't know how I forgot that one, Natalie. I do love it. I do love it, but I didn't. Yep, I forgot. It's so good. Lucian left the room. I finished putting on my tie and reread my notes for the morning's speech. A few hours later, I was waiting in the wings at the North Sword Auditorium in Anrica. In the audience were several thousand of my conservative supporters. I was wearing an FC Anrica scarf to please the locals and remind them that I was still part owner of the team. Oh, that's a nice touch. Behind the podium hung a Swordish flag and a giant banner that read... Oh, god damn it. This one's a tough one. Victory is close, peace, prosperity, and the Swordish way. Your land, my land, Sordland. I mean, 3 is funny. I mean, 3 is a solid pun. It's a good bit of wordplay, I should say, rather. For a united Sordland. 3 is good, isn't it? 3 is good. I see a couple calls for 3. Oh, man. It has a certain feeling of cooperation to it, I suppose, you know? We're in this together. It's not just a good bit of wordplay. Wow, I see like almost unanimous support for 3. 1 call for 2. Peace, prosperity, and the Sordland way. Well, sure, we'll try 3. We'll try 3. Why not? How bad could it be? How bad could it be? Your land, my land, Sordland. Sordland, I guess. Jesus. Yeah, your land, my land, my land. Everyone cheered as I walked on stage. Though Mayor Curtin Lest was now part of the opposition as a member of the NFP, it seemed most of Anrica was still on my side. A traitor. Lucian gave a short speech introducing me. Then, it was my turn. I stepped behind the podium and took a deep breath. Oh boy. Sons and daughters of Sordland or brothers and sisters of the USP. I feel as though, Jesus, this stuff always, you never know just how much of an impact it's going to have. You know what I mean? You never know just how much of an impact it's going to have. Classified sounds good, buddy, and to you as well. Have yourself a wonderful time with your family, and I hope you enjoy your weekend as well. Thanks for dropping by and saying hi, though. Cheers, mate. I think, yeah, Sons and Daughters has that. It's almost like that patriarchal father figure kind of a thing, I guess. It's got like we are not equals. It's a wild day for crashes. My apologies, folks. Thank you for your patience. But yeah, I mean, be a father of the nation as against the riverside. Exactly. It's got kind of like that. It's got that vibe to it. So sure, Sons and Daughters of Sordland. Let's see. We got to make sure we play up all of our accomplishments as hard as possible, right? The past 3.5 years have seen our country tested again and again. The past 3.5 years have been the hardest of my life. That sounds way too whiny. Over the past 3.5 years, many enemies have tried to destroy me and this fine country. Ooh, I feel like we go with it's either 1 or 3 here. I'm feeling like 1 because it focuses on the country and it's not so egotistical. Again, we're talking to our party. And if our party feels like we're a little too self-centered, they might be a little concerned, you know? They might be a little concerned. And some among them have tried to destroy me as well, let's not forget. So I'm leaning towards 1. The past 3.5 years have seen our country tested again and again. Yet I stand before you now ready to pledge myself to God and Sordland yet again, or yet Sordland has prevailed. Under my administration we are stronger than ever, or yet the Reign administration stands strong, ready to lead Sordland to greatness once more. Let's see. Yet I stand before you now ready to pledge myself to God and Sordland yet again. I mean, these are our conservatives, right? So I think 1 would play in nicely to that group. Yet I stand before you now, ready to pledge myself to God and Sordland yet again. I kind of feel like we should have gone with 2 there. I do have some regrets about that one, but we'll see. With my re-election, I will finish pulling Sordland's economy from the depths of recession, or I have begun to fix the disastrous economic decisions of my predecessors, or together we will get the economic crisis under control. I feel like 2 is the way to go. We've not done too poorly, truth be told. Yeah, budget being in the negative is fine. Operating at a deficit is a common thing for governments, right? Like, it's fine. And I think our economy has been seeing something of a recovery. I feel like now we add a little bit of self-centered, patting ourselves on the back to this speech. So I have begun to fix the disastrous economic decisions of my predecessors. As armed militants threaten to tear us apart, I promise I will uphold law and order. As violence on the streets threaten to tear us apart, I promise I will restore harmony. Oh, damn. Harmony or law and order? I feel like law and order is the right play over here. Focusing on the armed militants, the brutish threat. Right? Focus on the brutish threat, focus on the, well, what the oligarchs have been up to. Yeah, I think law and order also appeals more to this base. So as armed militants threaten to tear us apart, I promise I will uphold law and order. I will continue to fight for the constitutional reform Sordland deserves. Yeah, hell no. I will continue to uphold Tarkansal's constitution until Sordland is ready for reform, or I will continue my fight against the enemies of Sordland, both internal and external. See, among our conservatives, there are some people who I think who don't quite love Saul, right? Like they would rather move away from his era and his policies. So I feel like continuing to fight against the enemies of Sordland is the most like holistic, like covers everyone's statement. Restore harmony is code word for burn everyone who isn't being harmonious. Yeah, pretty much. How's it going, Sacketh? Glad you could make it, bud. See a couple calls for 3. I see a call for 2. It's between 2 and 3, I think, and I feel like 3 just edges out over here. I will continue my fight against the enemies of Sordland, both internal and external. Bring out Tusk, have him assassinated on stage. That's one way to do it, right? And I will continue to root out corruption and wrongdoing even within the institutions we hold dear, or I remain committed to stamping out the corruption that has plagued Swordish corporations for far too long. Oh, we don't want to call out Swordish corporations, right? Saul does have major pull in the party, it's true. But hopefully we already have an in with his favorites, or people who favor him, right? With our previous actions, and we don't have to restate it here. Over here, I feel like we should look at the institutions we hold dear, rather than Swordish corporations. I think that would make quite a few business owners quite nervous if we were to say that. We did not cancel Saul's immunity. No, we've actually worked with Saul quite a bit, actually. Quite a bit. That's a good point as well, Conrado, with the on the previous screen I assume you're talking. And James Tyler 42, how's it going, buddy? This game has you play as the president of an alien nation, a fictional nation in a fictional world, in a very realistic representation of the 50s, and you're the president, and you're trying to rein it all in, from terrorism to political strife to the struggle for minorities' rights and all that kind of stuff. It's a very interesting text-based RPG. David, you gotta go. Sounds good, buddy. Well, thanks for coming through. Thanks for dropping by. Have yourself a beautiful rest of the day if I don't catch you later. And enjoy the weekend if I don't see you before Monday. But thanks for coming through and have yourself a beautiful day. Yeah, I will continue to root out corruption and wrongdoing, even within the institutions we hold dear. Like, ignore my corruption. That's different. That's not real corruption. Thunderous applause erupted. Oh, thunderous. Nice. Okay, good. Sordland has changed, but the USP remains as strong as ever. Or some have accused me of straying from the values of the USP. To them I say, I am the USP. As much as I love that, I think it'll make us some enemies. So I think we have to go with one over here. Sordland has changed, but the USP remains as strong as ever. Reassure them that, you know, that the party is together, united, that we're on the same team. Again, as much as I like to, this isn't Star Wars, right? We can't just say I am the Senate and hope it plays out well. I know. But I think we'll make some people very nervous if we say that. They'll be like, oh, who does he think he is? And we'll get assassinated from inside the party. So as much as I love it, Sordland has changed, but the USP remains as strong as ever. Zuka 3, none of the above. Again, in our minds and hearts, we've said I am the Senate. But you know, like I said, it's not this ain't no movie. I do love democracy. There has been tremendous progress made in this term and more is to come, or I promise you there is no way we can lose, or I have devoted an unprecedented amount of effort towards making Sordland's economy the best in the world. We will not lose. I think 1 is the right answer here. I feel like 3 is... Who does he think he is? He is the Senate. Oh, goddamn. I love it. Thunderous applause, the way democracies die. That's true. We did get a thunderous applause. You're right. You're right. But yeah, I feel like option 3 here is playing up our accomplishments too much. It's like, it's not among the best in the world. What are you saying? Whereas 1 is a bit more realistic. It's truthful, but it does still play up our accomplishments rather than this vague statement of, oh, hey, trust me. So there has been tremendous progress made in this term, and more is to come. I almost double-clicked there by mistake. I should get more sleep. I and Vice President Vectron shall lead Sordland into a bright new era. Or, I and Vice President Vectron shall not back down until we finish what we started. Ooh, I kind of like 2, because 2 implies... Oh, wait, no, you know what? I just realized, though, we shall not back down has a sense of aggression to it that might turn people away. What I liked about 2 was that it implies that we've already started these changes and now we're going to finish them. But then I realized it's a little aggressive. Shall not back down. You know what I mean? Whereas I and Vice President Vectron shall lead Sordland into a bright new era is very positive and forward-looking. Sleep isn't one of the options. It never is it, Zuka? It never is. Yeah, let's go with 1 over here. I and Vice President Vectron shall lead Sordland into a bright new era. If he's still alive, we haven't heard from him in a very long time, so hopefully he's there to hang out with us, you know? A roar shook the hall. I love democracy. We will form a broad coalition of supporters to make sure morning finally comes. It is time, my fellow swords. A new dawn is upon us, and it begins right here and right now. Oh, man. I feel like 2 is the way to go here. Screw the coalition of supporters. I think 2 is the way to go. A new dawn is upon us, and it begins right here and right now. Oh, God damn it. It's time to get back on board the rain train is so tempting, but I think Amorgna West Core is the right way to end that statement. Amorgna West Core. The audience enthusiastically finished the saying as streamers shot out of the cannons behind me. Oh, do we appeal to the football team as well? That seems strange, to end on such a note and then talk about my football team. That's so weird, right? That's so weird. Right? It's like, and then the first dictator of Sordland, or I guess the second dictator of Sordland, says tooth to tooth, eye to eye, FC Anrika, and walked off the stage, thus ending the republic. Like what a weird, yeah. No, we walk off stage. No, that's so goofy to me. Walk off stage. My re-election campaign had officially begun. I stepped down from the podium and hopefully saw results right away. Yeah, that's true as well. We don't want the opposite team voting against us. Exactly. This is a national thing, right? That's not just a local thing. It's a national endeavor. There have been some updates. Let's see. Business over here. Where is... Oh, hello. The Lotharberg Group. Was founded by Noel Tusk, who used to be the economic advisor, blah, 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 blah. The meetings are secret, but many analysts suggest that topics like economy, blah, 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 conspiracy theorists, blah, 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 blah. Where is, it said these guys were updated. Oh, it was oh, there it is. It was briefly led by Walter Tusk, the grandson of Noel Tusk. Subtle. So subtle. But there it is. Amazing. Okay, so that's one thing. We've got governmental over here, anti-corruption police. During President Rain's first term, the ACP managed to uncover a host of illegal activities within the oligarchs. The investigation found the millionaire businessman Mr. Walter Tusk has deep foreign ties. One of his corporation's subsidiaries is directly involved in smuggling and selling Rumbergian AK-74s within Sordland. They mean KA-74s, that's a typo. AK-74s are a real weapon, game. You mean KA-74, your in-game parallel. All right, interesting. Of course, our journal has been updated as well with our recent decisions. I decided to have Walter Tusk killed, which has happened. And as many of you have noticed, our economy is in the green. What? That's awesome. That's the first time in both of my playthroughs, if I recall correctly, that our economy has been green. This is fantastic. We are 3 short of a full economy. It looks like killing Walter Tusk was the right call there. It's Matt, exactly, yeah. But now, a moment from our sponsors, FC Anrika, and just pull out like a pack of smokes as well. I talk about our like favorite cigarette or whatever. Yo, that's amazing. I'm trying to figure out what actually triggered that, because we've made a lot of good moves. We have made a lot of good moves, and I'm not sure what's coming into play right now so long after the decisions were made. I don't know, but this is great. We got some news to look at. What's going on at Dare? Young swords help police keep the peace. Oh my god, this is terrible. The extended and exhausted police units trying to uphold safety and order in the streets are being helped by 1,000 young sword supporters who are giving intelligence to the police units. With a massive information network in civilian disguise, the young swords have become instrumental in keeping the massive riots in Dare in check. The local police chief has extended their thanks to the supportive actions of the young swords. The sense of duty and citizenship is commended by everyone in the security field. The leader of the young swords declared that anyone vandalizing and rioting against the state is an enemy of the nation. He pledged total order. Okay, you know what, actually? I'm glad they're not out there actually, like, killing people. They're reporting crimes and things like that. A bit more palatable. Yeah, apparently it does work, Ricky Cool. Apparently it's the benevolent dictator, right? It's the way to go. Considering how benevolent we've been. No, I know against the river. Yeah. So AK-47 And AK-74 are real weapons, but the game says KA-74 to reference the AK-74 without actually referencing the AK-74. So it's always been the KA-74 in the game, so that was a typo in that update. This worked out nicely. This is all working out rather nicely. What's the update over here? Economy. Production increase. That's got to be it, right? That's got to be it. A new production-focused investment has invigorated growth and caused a ripple effect in an increased output of production throughout the country. This was our decision 2 sessions ago, I think it was. A whole 2 chapters ago, even potentially. Good stuff. Fantastic stuff. All right. I'm feeling pretty good now. The Economists. Oh, stocks plunge as Tusk found dead. This is wild. The stock market reeled today from the news that successful businessman Walter Tusk was found dead in his mansion yesterday evening. He had dined with a female companion at a nearby steakhouse, then the two retired to his home, where the companion claims he suddenly collapsed. Police officers could find no evidence of foul play. The tumbling stock market is an indicator of just how much influence Tusk wielded in the business community prior to his death. He leaves a vacuum that will be difficult to fill. So this could be problematic. This could be a bit of an issue because obviously no faith in the stock market can collapse the economy. But I hope that's not the case. Agent 47 did do a fantastic job. Dude was killed in a spectacular way. Oh my god. His female companion survived. Was she the actual assassin? Or like what happened there? I would love to know. Yeah, I much prefer this than talk of our bribe leaking. That would have been really bad for us. Karanti might replace him. Oh, dude, you're right. I think Karanti will replace him, and Karanti gets along with us famously. So that's very good for us if that actually works out. True, Flak Army, he could have survived, but this way no foul play is suspected, and there won't be any investigation, hopefully. Lackhaven Times has what to say. Massive Reign 57 campaign begins. As the 1957 campaign closed in, President Anton Reign started his massive campaign. Posters and leaflets are distributed across every city, big or small, in Sordland, while radios are bombarding every citizen with the president's achievement. Myriad of newspapers' headlines is about their interview with the president or his cabinet members. The campaign is estimated to cost hundreds of millions of Sordish Ren. Due to this, many of his opposition are criticizing Mr. Reign for spending time campaigning, while there are still scores of problems in Sordland. That cheer came in at the perfect time. That crash timing was spectacular. Sean Britt, as I was saying, thank you very much for subscribing. Folks, if you're enjoying the show, I should mention again, don't hesitate to hit that like button. It does really help make a difference in just letting me know what y'all would like to see on the channel, if I should keep live streams going and things like that. But yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. A little concerned about these people talking about the scores of problems, considering, you know, our economy is looking fantastic. And isn't that the main problem? Isn't that the real problem? I think the real market down would be if we had arrested him, because then a lot of companies would be apprehensive of staying in the country if their managers could be arrested. That's a good point as well, Conrado. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. They would realize that they're not safe like they might have thought they were. Now this guy just died, you know, maybe it was food poisoning of like the utmost degree, or he had a heart attack or something. Whatever it might be, they don't have any reason to suspect that the government might be out to get them. I'm not sure about how the currency translates, actually, Valabesh. No idea. There is Ricky Cool, and I am looking into it, and I'm slowly transferring over to it, but a lot of my stuff is with Streamlabs right now, so it's taking a bit of effort to make sure it's all cleanly transferred over, but very soon I hope to be past it. There's also been a lot of stuff going on, like with the Steam sale. I had to get a video done for that, so there's been other stuff getting in my way of making all the shifts all at once. But it is happening. Fear not. It is happening. For more reasons than just the frustration. Young Swords drives NFP recruitment. In Gelsord, a sizable gathering of Young Swords members were seen organizing a recruiting rally for NFP. Hang on a second. Despite the USP majority of the city, they seem to have laid the groundwork as a surprising amount of people were interested in attending. Whoa. The NFP? That's not us. Zuka Dragon coming through with a super chat. Gotta go. You're doing great. Don't let your opponents put you on DESPOT. Have fun. Well, thank you very much, buddy. Zuka, as you heard me saying earlier as well, makes a massive difference in just keeping the channel alive and running smoothly, keeps these streams sustainable, so I appreciate it greatly. Thank you for dropping by. I hope you had a good time, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your Friday and weekend if I don't catch you over the weekend. I'm hoping to have some time to chill in the Discord and just relax and hopefully just relax a little bit. But if that doesn't happen, I do hope you have yourself a wonderful, wonderful weekend, buddy. Thanks again. All right. This is worrying news. This is worrying news. Because we funded the Young Swords, and here they are helping a recruitment rally for the NFP instead. Despite the USP majority of the city, they seem to have laid the groundwork as a surprising amount of people were interested in attending. We interviewed a few passing citizens on what they think, and we heard conflicting answers. A tea house owner attending the rally said Kisaro Kibner is going to win, mark my words, while a taxi driver has said they know it's pointless, but they're still doing it. That's crazy if you ask me. Despite what the general populace thinks, the mood was merry as the support for NFP grows in the city. That is very concerning. See, this is the problem. As far as the left is concerned, there is only one party to vote for. Where are we? Looking for this. Right, so as far as the progressives are concerned, there is only one party to vote for, and that is the PFJP. But as far as the right wing is concerned, as far as the conservatives are concerned, there are two parties to vote for. To vote between, I should say. So we might be losing votes to the NFP, while the PFJP supporters remain PFJP supporters. But because of poor voting, we might lose majority and instead end up with a minority government. See, this is where strategic voting is so important, and we just have to hope that enough people who would like to vote for the NFP realize it would be stupid to do so and instead vote for the USP, knowing that the USP can retain power much more easily than the NFP can. That would prevent the PFJP from taking control, because as it stands right now, based on that article we just read, what could happen is that the vote gets split between the USP and the NFP, and then the PFJP wins with a minority government, but they're in charge, right? That's what can happen, because the PFJP isn't splitting votes with anybody. Anybody who's a progressive in this country is voting PFJP. Anybody who's a conservative is voting between two parties. So that's a little concerning. That's a little concerning. We can try and assassinate another political leader, I suppose. I mean, I don't think the PFJP. Again, we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it plays out. I'm a little nervous about that article, though. What do we have over here? Young Swords force protesters out. Young Swords members have marched against the protesters in Hallsword and intimidated thousands through beatings and acts of violence. The efforts alleviate the pressure on the police units, which are already extended. Even though the Young Swords members are acting harshly, they have yet to turn their behavior on our forces. A massive Young Swords march with torches has attracted 12,000 people, followed by a massive clash in which the group has attacked a 5,000 rioter group headed for the palace. Some Young Swords are camping at the Hill of Pride and waving swordish flags. Man, things are really escalating. I was just talking about, oh good, they're not using violence, they're just reporting crime, but now here they are using violence, so that's a little concerning. They are working hard, those kids, they are working hard. Bright futures for all of them in our party, I'm sure. Or perhaps the NFP. Still a little disappointed at that. You don't get why they're supporting the NFP? Because the NFP is significantly more right-wing than we are, and the Young Swords are like as right as it gets. They're ultra-nationalist. So we are too left for the Young Swords, is my understanding. A little concerned about that. Briefing on the current economic situation. I'm looking forward to this one for once. I arrived at the Ministry of Economy and proceeded upstairs. An assistant waiting by the door to the meeting room took my jacket. I opened the door and entered the largest boardroom in the building. Simon was sitting alone with a glass of water and his documents laid out before him. Actually, that reminds me, folks, I do need a quick sip of water, losing my voice over here. Oh yeah, definitely needed that. He stood up when I entered and approached me. After a quick handshake, I took a seat. Yes, no, it's not breaking the rule, Conrado. I saw that too, but we'll leave it at that statement. But yes, almost definitely. That's a contemporary reference, almost definitely. But no, don't worry. You're not breaking the rule there. I appreciate the caution though. He stood up when I entered and approached me. After a quick handshake, I took a seat. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Good to see you. Likewise. A knock was heard on the door and Peter entered the room. Oh, thank God he's alive. I was so worried about him. I was really concerned about what went down with Peter. I hope I'm not late. Did you start yet? Mr. Vice President, no, not yet. Look at that. He's behaving now. He's actually showing up on time and stuff. Good for him. Now that everyone's here, let's begin. As you all know, we're here to review the economic progress we've made over the past term and decide how to proceed. I will brief you quickly on what we've done so far, just as a refresher. Very well, let's hear it. He gathered the documents in the pile in front of him and adjusted his glasses. From the pile, he produced 2 booklets and handed them to us. Our extra focus on the economy has resulted in some small-scale positive growth. The extra resources have been a boon to my ministry. It would be great if we followed up on this focus during our next term. Let's take a deep dive into the details now. Please turn to page 5. I turned to page 5. Let's start off with our economy plan. I'm glad to say that we are on track with our initial plan for a market economy. Most of our decisions so far have been pretty consistent. Thank you for your efforts, Simon. Give him some credit, right? Make him feel good, right? Jazzy B. He was busy being vice president with lots of vice. Yeah, indeed. Hopefully some of that vice is washed off now. And Ricky Cool, yeah, I know. I thought they would stand for us, right, Ricky? But no. The really poor showing on the part of the young swords. Yeah, good work, Simon. Thank you. You're too kind. Let's move on with the report. If I were to describe what we've done so far, I would say that it's very close to a laissez-faire economic system. Please turn to page 16. I turned to page 16, titled Status of Trade and the Effects of Foreign Policy. I'm happy to say that our trade has increased since the beginning of our term. We are on the right path. More trade means a more vibrant economy, which means unbridled economic development. Having said that, the fact that we're now able to rely completely on our own economy is definitely a step in the right direction. First comes self-reliance, then everything else. True. We must look ahead now and see how we can expand into foreign economies. Yo, this is exciting. We didn't have any of this in our previous playthrough. None of these options came up, right? We need to aim for a more balanced approach. Okay, now that we can stand on our own 2 feet, we can aim for more opportunities with foreign countries, or we don't need any foreign countries controlling us through our economy. We should maintain our self-reliance. I feel like 3 is the way to go here. I feel like it's more appropriate for our personal beliefs. Or actually, yeah, good point, Bishop. A balanced approach is maybe fairest. Let's see what he says to that. I think you're right. I think I was too quick to be like, no, screw foreign countries. The thing is, like, the way it's phrased. Oh, I see some support for 3 over here. All right. I mean, what it's all a matter of phrasing, because the way it says we don't need any foreign countries controlling us through our economy is a powerful statement, and that makes me nervous to think that would even be a possibility, right? We could say we could aim for a more balanced approach. Well, let's see what he says to that. And on that note, Wickles, how's it going? Glad you can make it. We'll have to carefully consider this matter during our second term. Let's get there first, right? Please turn to page 17. I turned to page 17. In our attempt to repair Sordland's economic system, we have generally sided with businesses. Even though the country benefited financially, the people certainly weren't fond of it. The bad news is our living standards are decreasing. We've been receiving more and more complaints about our welfare systems. That's not good. Not for them, and certainly not for our election prospects. Exactly. Some of our industries have also been knocked down to their knees by our recent taxations. The demand for these goods has decreased drastically, which led to businesses in these industries being shut down. Some people are calling the government out for infringing on their personal liberty. Apparently, some even filed lawsuits saying the taxes violate their human dignity. Their lawyers argued for them that they need it for mental health treatment. We're talking about alcohol here now, I think. Which, fair enough. I mean, maybe our economy could have been even better if we hadn't done some of those taxes, but but we did. We needed the government budget, and so we did. Now, to page 34. I turn to page 34. Production in our country has nearly doubled since the start of our administration. It is a great success. Doubled. It's not enough. We need to triple our production. No, quadruple. Quadruple. No, it's quadruple. I'm like 90% sure the word is quadruple with a U. Let's not forget about the sacrifices we had to make to achieve this. Or no, let's be positive, right? Let's encourage Simon to stick with us moving forward, and let's not like talk down his accomplishments and his achievements. I'm definitely in a good mood, I would say. I couldn't have asked for more. Good work. You're a wizard, Simon. Teamwork makes it happen. Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work, right? Moving on to logistics. We have an infrastructure problem, and the economy won't truly flourish unless we solve it. We need to make new roads and improve existing ones. People and businesses alike have been complaining. Smoother commutes, easier access, and faster delivery times would help everyone out. We're very close to the end. I want to talk about a few numbers. Please turn to page 57. I've prepared a chart. I turn to page 57. Our inflation rate is currently at an amazing 2%, down from 7%. It's the lowest Sordland has ever seen. Yo, that's actually amazing. The Sordishren's value has been largely maintained, and consumer prices have been stabilized. Low prices means happy people. Yo, this is amazing. Yeah, I feel like 1 is the right amount of self-centeredness. That's the right amount of ego, right? We're writing history here. Agreed. Cat in top hat coming through with a super chat. I do love how that rhymes. Thank you very much, buddy. Just passing by. No time to watch. Hope you have a great day. Well, I mean, thanks for dropping by, bud, and for the kind words. Have yourself a wonderful day as well. And thank you so very much for the support. As always, it really helps support the channel, the streams, keeps it all sustainable and possible. So thank you very, very much. And have yourself, a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend as well if I don't catch you, before the next week starts. Appreciate it greatly, bud. Having swallowing a lot of letters today. That's what happens when you don't sleep enough. That's one of the first things to go is language skills, right? But language be damned, my appreciation, obviously, it remains the same. Thank you very much, Cat and Top Hat. I appreciate it greatly. And Calicandro, thank you very much for subscribing. Hope you're enjoying the show. If you are, again, you know what to do. Hit that like button down below. Slyman Hall. About us writing history, he says, agreed. Mr. President, do you have any questions so far? No, let's move on. I'm good. No, what is our debt situation? Let's get some answers here. Our debt is at 428 billion Sordishren, close to 427 billion Sordishren at the beginning of our term. So it's a little bit higher now, fair enough. Basically, it hasn't budged from where we started. 1 billion at this scale is next to nothing. I would still consider this as a success, as we inherited a recession. We essentially prevented an economic collapse. That's good. How are we doing with unemployment? The unemployment rate remains steady at 16%. The change is mostly due to our lack of investments and economic planning. What are our latest numbers on our GDP? Our current GDP is at 314 billion Sordishren, not much more than the 310 billion Sordishren we had at the beginning of our term. As per the latest stats, the economy has remained at a similar level over the last 4 years. In short, our economical capacity has not changed much at all. Oh, all right, fair enough. I mean, I understand there's a difference between what this represents and some of the more, refined points, I suppose. But those are all the questions I have. Very well. I want to quickly highlight our budget expenditure. My numbers indicate that overall we have been fairly balanced in spending our government budget. A balanced approach is good. However, we shouldn't forget that money that is not spent is just pieces of paper. Now, going into the elections, and hopefully a second term, we need to decide on the way forward. One thing is clear. We need a bigger budget. We shouldn't start our next term with a budget deficit. What should we do, Mr. President? Any ideas? We could take an international loan, or nothing comes to mind, we'll have to make do with what we have. So taking an international loan does make us look a little weak. And I don't like that it does that. Because we are a small nation in the grand scheme of things, but people don't like, I guess, being reminded that we're a small nation. So we either we enter the next term with a deficit of -1 and have people criticize us for that, or we take a loan, giving us a positive budget prospects going into the next term, and we have people criticize us for that. I think we'll try and go in without the loan this time, because I'm seeing some support for the loan. What do you guys think, chat? What do you guys think? The only reason I'm like, maybe we go without the loan is because we don't want to look weak, but what is the weaker look? Going in with a broken economy, right? Budget, I think the budget would grow. Some of those investments would come back, and I feel like the budget would grow naturally based on our efforts from this term into the next. If we take the loan, then we can be sure that superpowers will control us through our economy. Well, the MFI is supposed to be, unaligned, right? It's like the International Monetary Fund, like the World Bank of the real world. But I think with a -1, if we were at -2 or -3 or -4, I'd be inclined to take a big loan. But we're at -1. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll increase our budget based on our initiatives between this term and the beginning of the next, or early on in the next term. I think we'll be fine. Nothing comes to my mind right now. We'll have to make do with what we have. A little nervous about that decision. Yeah, foreign countries won't have influence via loan, but we will owe the bank some money, and again, it's a matter of perception. People will think, oh wow, remember the Reign administration had to take a loan. They won't remember that we helped the economy so much. They'll remember that we had to take a loan. You know what I mean? Might need a loan for a coming war. Oh, I hope not. We've already invested quite heavily in the military-industrial complex, so hopefully that works out. Yeah, I think we don't need a loan over here. I think we're fine enough that we don't need a loan. Our economy is also, yes, looking good, right? So fingers crossed. Very well, sir. Now that that's out of our way. During our first term, we've faced many challenges in the midst of a recession. We've worked hard to fight against the odds, but we couldn't accomplish much. What are you talking about, Simon? We should pop some champagne. Some champagne. You may have surmised from the data I've given you that we've not yet been able to end the recession. Really? In fact, you'd be correct. But given the quagmire we inherited, the situation could be much worse. I'm very confused. Do we have to be at a full economy to come away from the recession? I thought we did quite well. All the blame falls on your shoulders as the Minister of Economy, Simon. You will resign before the next term. Harsh. We've done all we could. Now is the time to look to the future and try to fix our mistakes. This is all my fault. I made the decisions that led us here. Of course, 3 is not an option. I don't think 1 is an option either. He's done quite well, and I think we did the best we could, and we have to keep doing that. Keep that momentum, right? We've done all we could. Now is the time to look to the future and try to fix our mistakes. We did again inherit a quagmire, right? As he so eloquently put. Yes, some things can't be undone, but for the economy at least, there is still hope. We will get through this together. That is all for our meeting today. Thank you for coming. The meeting dispersed, and I hurried to the cafeteria to get a cup of coffee. I think that went well enough. I was expecting better results, I'll be honest with you, but that's okay. Lots of reports across the board. I'm a little nervous. What are the young swords up to now? Alright, let's start with Lenkirk over here. Tons of salmon left rotting in storage. The mayor of Lenkirk requests financial aid for the city to slow down the economic crash, which was triggered by a massive decrease in fish exports. The city is reported to have a problem in finding new customers. Tons of salmon are left to rot on a daily basis, which caused many fishermen to move away from the city. Well, that's unfortunate. What's triggered that? Is it the trouble at Helgeport? Quite possibly, actually. Quite possibly. What's happening at Morbel here? Soon to be a ghost town. The mayor of Morbel requests financial aid for the city to combat the increased emigration. He reported that the city will be a ghost town in a few years if no measures are taken. The lack of goods and materials flowing from Morna and Hallsword is the main contributing factor of the city's economic downturn. Yep, looks like trouble in the water is starting to affect us now. Marcel Caranti's HOS Advertising, the biggest advertising agency in Sordland, volunteered to help with the election campaign. They will provide consulting and design work for campaign material. The agency will also produce video material for television, which will be televised extensively by the channels owned by the HOS Media Group. HOS resorts will also be open to all party events and meetings during the campaign period. Yo, that's good. Our friendship with Karanti continues to pay off. That sounds quite good. And at Hallsword, NFP welcomes General Lutheran's son. The National Front Party has welcomed General Lutheran's son into their midst today in Hallsword. Seeing a Lutheran back in politics is shocking to many citizens. General Lutheran infamously organized the military coup against former President Whiskey that led to the Swordish Civil War. Mr. Kibbener has organized the event to appeal to his voter base. This is a symbolic step for the NFP, as Lutheran was arguably the most well-known nationalist in Sordland. Okay, there is trouble brewing. A little bit of trouble brewing. So much commotion over the ocean. Man, that one's that's a AAA bit of wordplay right there. Down over here at Sarna. Increased crime and racial violence plagues Sarna. The mayor of Sarna requests financial aid and additional security for Sarna. He reported a spike in racial violence and crime in the city. The lack of investment seemed to intensify the economic differences between different parts of society. This is troubling. It's like every city is asking for financial aid for one reason or another, not liking how this is looking. And meanwhile, we have the PFJP Suhail's slogan, "Victory for everyone." Richter is gone. Suhail is party lead. As the 1957 election starts to approach, new leader Manoli Suhail and the People's Freedom and Justice Party are making waves in Lackhaven. Their campaign slogan, "Victory for Everyone," covered the city after a campaign visit to the city. The PFJP has been the United Sordland Party's major opposition since their formation, each year earning a higher percentage of votes. They continue to be a concern. The NFP is starting to become a bit of a headache as well, yes, but I think the PFJP remains our primary concern. And here's our scheduled television interview. Again, a little nervous about this one. Got to make sure we play up all of our accomplishments and see how it goes. The makeup crew had just finished their preparations for the interview. Lucian stopped me on my way out to the balcony of the Blue Mansion, where the filming crew was standing ready to start filming. "Are you ready for the interview, sir?" Whoa, why? Don't I look ready? No. We gotta sound confident, right? At least to our staff. Yes. Good. I've done my best to make this happen. This is very important for our administration. The crew is ready to start filming. Mr. Sacker is excited to interview you. As I explained before, it would be bad press to decline this interview offer. They're the most prestigious interview program in the world. And they're from Kairut. The country is known for its neutrality. I don't think there will be too much pressure. Okay. I hope so, Lucian. I hope you're right. I walked to the balcony and sat on the seat prepared for me, directly in front of Mr. Sacker. That's for an interviewer, that's a strong name, Mr. Sacker. A little nervous. Mr. President, welcome to One-on-One. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you. Let us begin with the latest incident between Sordland and Roomberg. Going right for the nads right from the beginning. He didn't get the name Sacker, from his parents. He probably did. An aircraft of the Swordish Air Forces was shot down by Roombergian anti-air guns a few weeks ago. Officials from the Roombergian government proclaimed that the aircraft was flying inside the airspace of Roomberg. Just a few days after the incident, Swordish anti-air guns shot down a Roombergian airplane. This time, your government proclaimed exactly the same, while the Roombergian government insisted that their plane was inside their airspace. Many argued that this was not a coincidence, and the Swordish army acted intentionally in retaliation. Did you give such an order? Interesting. So, oh boy. This is tough. Because the premise of his question... Oh, okay, this is tough. See, his setup has some misinformation in it. And that makes me nervous. He says that officials from the Roombergian government proclaimed that the aircraft was flying inside Roomberg airspace. He doesn't say that their plane was flying in our airspace, or our plane was flying in our airspace. He doesn't say that. So 3 would correct his error there and make it very clear that we were invaded first. Right? Saying that we didn't give the order, first of all, is a lie. And it makes it look like we're not in control of our armed forces. Oh man. This is tough, because our forces only acted in response to their breach of our airspace is what happened. But it was what we ordered it as well, though. So no, I didn't isn't accurate. God damn, this is tough. Interviews are tougher than the speech decisions. Yeah. The family conversations are the toughest, though, I think. 3 is, I think, where we need... Yeah, I think I see a lot of y'all leaning towards 3. I feel like 3 is the only option here. It's like, well, hang on a second. Before we get ahead of ourselves and talk about whatever orders I gave, let's clear the air. Clear the air of Rumburgian plains, am I right? But yes, I do think 3 is the way to go over here. And that's a good point as well, Conrado. Alright, their claim is nonsense. Our plane was shot down inside our borders. But what about the attack from your side? It doesn't seem like an accident. Why aren't you asking about the first attack? They started all this. Okay, interesting. Now it seems like dodging. Their plane breached our airspace and our forces only acted in response to that. Feels like it feels like reiterating the facts here, making it very clear. Because what I worry about is that 3, saying it was done in retaliation, makes it sound like we entered their airspace, which was what Geopolitico was reporting, remember? So I feel like 2 is the answer here. I feel like 2 is the answer here. Their plane breached our airspace and our forces only acted in response to that. Because that was our order. We didn't say we're invading them. We said shoot down one of their planes, right? Yeah, exactly, because we need to avoid the word retaliation. It's a dangerous word. Own the narrative. Absolutely. Their plane breached our airspace and our forces only acted in response to that. Are you saying that the Rumburgian officials are lying? Are you absolutely certain that their plane was inside Swordish airspace? Yes, they lied in both instances. These were harassments against Sordland. Is, I think, the way to go. Oh, it's tempting. I'm absolutely sure they breached our airspace. Or, yes, they lied in both instances. They were absolutely posturing against us, right? And why should we back down here? And I feel like, yeah, we should clarify and remind the world about that first invasion as well. The first transgression, rather, I should say, as well, right? 3 feels like whining. And so I don't think we can go with that. We definitely can't be like, oh, well, why aren't you asking about whataboutism doesn't work? Whataboutism on an international stage doesn't work, right? This isn't some internet argument. I gotta be very careful here, right? Are we sure that we're sure? I don't know, right? Are we being lied to by our ministers who've been warmongering for a while? But I think, yeah, we need to maybe go on the offensive a little bit over here. Yes, they lied in both instances. These were harassments against Sordland. That statement there from Mardanis makes me nervous. 2 if you want war, 1 if you want to be supported by other nations. Oh, I feel like 2 is what I would say. At the risk of being slaughtered at war, 2 is, I think, what we would say. Yes, they lied in both instances. These were harassments against Sordland. Do you believe these harassments could lead to an actual war between Sordland and Rumburg in the future? I feel like we can... This is our opportunity to be the bigger person, you know? We can de-escalate here. We can de-escalate here. Saying it's very likely shows that it's almost like a, yeah, come at me, bro. I believe that's what Rumburg wants. They've been working to get a justification for such an action. It's kind of putting words in their mouth. Also seems a little melodramatic, right? 4, again, way too aggressive. I feel like, I hope not, we're willing to do what it takes to not create a conflict. Makes us look... Jeez, I see calls for 3 or 4. Really? If they want war, we'll give them war? That's very aggressive. Very aggressive. We're not making any friends. Let's not forget, we do not have any allies. We have half an ally. 1 is a real bigger person, 3 is what I feel. Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page there, Flack Harbor. I think 1 is the best choice here. Even though our ministry knows that we're preparing for war and we're doing what we can to not back down. We don't want to appear as cowards. That's why we're doing the parade and everything, and that's why we shot down their plane. But we also don't want to escalate to a full-fledged war, right? A dictator rules nothing if their country's, well, if they've been deposed. I don't know if 1 looks weak. I see where you're coming from there, Sealtooth, but I don't know if it looks weak. I feel like it's you know, being the bigger person, right? And now everyone's like 1 is weak. I feel like I should like flip a coin over here. It is very likely, yes. We'll have to see, but if they want war, we'll give them war. I feel like it's between 1 and 3. At most, I think 3 is the most aggressive we could go. The reality is that we are weak. 1 keeps us alive, says Harry. Kind of, right? We're not showing weakness, we're showing humanity. I love how much of a conflict this is raising. Exactly, yeah, this is humanity. Look how much we care for people. Like, don't mind the bloods. Look how much we care for people. I'm going to go with 1. Let's do it. I hope not. We're willing to do what it takes not to create a conflict. He's gonna see right through that statement, isn't he? It's not a lie. I've said it many times. I don't want this to escalate into a full-fledged war. That won't go well for us. This week, both the Arcasian and United Contanon governments have condemned the airplane incident. Do you think they would be involved as mediators in the case of a broader conflict between your countries? That's not even a question. They would surely get involved, but I don't know if as mediators. That's making enemies of both of the global superpowers, I think. I hope so. We look up to the international community to maintain peace in all of Maricopa, or honestly, I don't expect much from them. This is where we can get some friends, right? We can get some friends without having those alliances. We look up to the international community to maintain peace in all of Maricopa, showing that we can't do this on our own, right? We all have to work together for a united future, for a safe future. Den Rap, thank you very much for subscribing. Hope you're enjoying the show, buddy. If you are, you know what to do. Hit that like button down below. Really helps me know what people are interested in on the channel. But yeah, hope you're having a good time. I think 2 is the way to go. I hope so. We look up to the international community to maintain peace in all of Maricopa. He stopped for a moment and took a brief look at his papers. Let's continue on that note. I want to expand a little more on your foreign policy. Let's talk about the ongoing conflict about the Helgeland island. Oh, crap. I believe Sordland stands together with Volksland on this matter. In fact, despite condemnation from Magnolian leader Van Horten, you recognized Helgeland as rightful Volkslandian land. According to reports from yesterday, Volkslandian navy had finally attacked the Agnolian fleet at Helgeland Island. Today, Prime Minister Van Horten announced that the island is indeed under an invasion. He said Volkslandian troops landed on the island. What is and will be the role of Sordland in this conflict? Oh, damn. We have a full-fledged invasion. A communications disruption can only mean one thing. There's a not as often quoted line from the prequel trilogy. No wonder we haven't heard from Van Horten in some time. Oh boy. Alright, Sordland has or will have no role in this conflict. We're not taking any sides. Okay, Sordland has nothing to do with the invasion. However, Volksland has a right to intervene in Helgeland, or we stand with Volksland in their rightful intervention in the island. Okay, so, yes, very unexpected. That is an escalation that I saw we would see the escalation, but not the end result of the escalation here. Yeah, this definitely involves the great powers. Now, here's the thing, right? Either we say we don't take any sides, or we take a stance, right? We're not necessarily getting involved with our military, but we're taking a stance. I don't know if it'll give us allies in like a military sense. Like, I don't think we're going to get military allies or any pacts out of this, but it might make us friends. You know what I mean? Yeah, I do wish we had a bit of a briefing before the interview, right? I shouldn't be... Exactly. Can you imagine my face hearing the news from a reporter as opposed to from my ministers? God. Yeah, David Whiskey dropped the ball on this one. He should have let us know that this was happening. Sordland has nothing to do with the invasion. However, Volksland has a right to intervene in Helgeland, or we stand with Volksland in their rightful intervention in the island. We're not taking any sides. We have taken a side. We've taken a side previously. I think we should stick to our guns there. The not USSR did blow us off, yes, but they didn't blow us off completely. It was like a... we didn't get what we wanted, but, you know, we'll see what the future holds. That's how I interpreted it, at least. Yeah, I think we need to at least show... we need to vocally support the situation. We're not taking any sides. Of course, we absolutely are. We absolutely are. Screw Agnolia. We could have been allies. They decided to spit in our face. We'll never forget. Definitely holding that grudge. Sordland has nothing to do with the invasion. However, Volksland has a right to intervene in Helgeland. I think 3 is too heavy-handed of an involvement. We aren't that involved. We're not involved in the invasion, but we agree with what Volksland is doing, right? We're not actually sending our own boots on the ground there. So I think 2 is the way to go. Sordland has nothing to do with the invasion. However, Volksland has a right to intervene in Helgeland. Would Sordland also get involved if the situation gets out of control? As a peacekeeping force, yes. We can't let the Marchian Sea turn into a war zone. Oh, or no, Sordland has no intentions in intervening in other nations' conflict. The thing about 2 is it's a very wishy-washy answer. It's like, what happens in this worst-case scenario? Well, hopefully it won't. Okay, but what if? Well, yeah, but hopefully we won't get there. Okay, but what if we do get there? You know, it's like it's a very wishy-washy, there's no real answer there. Saying we could be a peacekeeping force is an interesting way to position ourselves, again, with the international community, right? Saying we have no intentions in intervening in other nations' conflicts sounds good on paper, but other nations could see it as being like oh, you're not going to support us when we need you, so we're not going to support you when we need us, right? Exactly, Conrado. 1 is despotic. A little bit, right? It's like our own benefits. We're a peacekeeping force. Very much a lie, right? It's not about answering him. It's about making yourself look good. That is a good point as well, Natalie. That is a good point. But does it make us look good if we waffle with our answers? That's what I worry about, you know? Be the change you want to impose on the world. That is beautifully said. And Panther Wolf, I don't think I caught you arriving earlier. I apologize for that, but thanks for joining in today. Glad you can make it. And Dangerous Person as well. Slap both of them. Honestly, yeah. No, as a peacekeeping force, yes. We can't let the Marchian Sea turn into a war zone. I think the whole world will appreciate that statement. Or they'll see it for the lie that it kind of is. Okay, let's move on to another topic. Yes, indeed, let's move on to another one. Last year, a huge conflict took place close to your borders with Welland. Oh, crap. When the Wessex forces partook in a massacre of Blutish civilians under the guise of eliminating the Blutish Freedom Front, Sordland decided to watch the atrocities take place. In fact, you not only closed the borders to the refugees fleeing from massacre, your border guards worked in cooperation with the Wessex forces. Will you accept responsibility of thousands of lives that were lost in Welland? Oh, boy. Of course not. We had nothing to do with what went on inside Welland. We only protected our borders. 1 seems about right? O'Neill Smith, thank you very much for subscribing. Hope you're enjoying the show, buddy. If you are, again, you know what to do. Hit that like button down below and let me know. A couple new subscribers here today. If you are enjoying the community as well in chat, don't hesitate to join the Discord. Link is in the description down below as always. But yeah, so that's option 1. Option 2 is it's true we work with Mr. Smollett, but I don't think anybody can blame Sordland for protecting its borders. Okay. Or 3, it breaks my heart to see so many people die in Welland. Could we have done something? Definitely, but the conflict had nothing to do with us. Oh, very interesting. Okay, like 3 is such a lie. I don't think anybody will fall for 3, considering how we shut down Blutish rights within our country. I'm sure Mr. Sacker here will be like, oh, it breaks your heart, does it? Well, then why did you continue to treat horribly all these people living within your own borders? You know, I feel like 3 is like just not really an option. It's a trick option. You know, Contested Tick 1, thank you very much for subscribing. Hope you're enjoying the show, buddy. Again, if you are, you know what to do. Let me know down below. Hit that like button. Yeah, 3 is, yeah, I know. 3 is, it's a bait. It's bait. That's what it is. Tom Hardy pointing up at that. That's bait. It's true we work with Mr. Smolak, but I don't think anybody can blame Sordland for protecting its borders. Yeah, I think that's the most truthful answer. 1 is fair as well, I would say. But it's not true that we had nothing to do with what went on inside Welland, right? We did have a conversation. We were kind of involved. I feel like 2 is the way to go. No, 3 is an easily provable lie. If you're gonna lie, you gotta make sure it's a believable one, right? So no, it's true. We work with Mr. Smolak, but I don't think anybody can blame Sordland for protecting its borders. Don't admit to working with Smolak? Let's see. What does he know? We watched, not only closed, but we cooperated with Wessex forces. Yeah, I mean, true. We could do one. We could do one. I see a couple of calls for 1, in fact. A couple calls for 2 as well. All right, I think you've made a fair point there. A quick one, but a fair one. Maybe taking Mr. Smolak's name in a light way is not good for our image. His question, though, is, will you accept responsibility of lives that were lost in Welland? No, those were not my fault. So we're not lying here, per se. Of course not. We had nothing to do with what went on inside Welland. We only protected our borders, which is true. We didn't provide full cooperation to Operation Bear Trap. We only closed our borders. Many have criticized Sordland for its role in this conflict. Do you not accept any of the criticisms? Again, 2 is a little whiny. Our role, really? Why don't you ask Mr. Smolak these questions? Like, who's gaining anything from that? Sure, we could have helped the refugees, but then again, how do we distinguish civilians from militants? Okay, or no, there is nothing wrong with protecting our country. So 1 definitely is a very, like, nationalistic and what's it called? Like, 1 shows that we potentially, you know, lack a heart. You know, it's like, no. It's difficult. It's difficult because we've already made it very clear that we were worried about the refugees potentially being militants or whatever. But I feel like 3 is a softer way of saying that. 3 is going to make you sound incompetent, says Dangerous Person. Interesting. Hey, Zuka, welcome back. Glad you can make it, man. Glad you can make it back, rather, I should say. Oh, man. 3 makes you sound incompetent. I didn't think about it that way. But that's a good point. That is a good point. That is a good point. How do we distinguish from civilians from militants? I mean, it's true though. How do you distinguish civilians from militants? How do you distinguish civilians from the radicalized? But I see where you're coming from. Flak Armor also has a good point. Why should we be apologetic for our nationalist views, right? Why are we hemming and hawing? That's a good point. Are we ashamed of protecting our nation? That's a good point. That's a good point. Right. We gotta be in character. And I don't think 1 is an end of the world type answer where we have to lie about protecting our country. So fine. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. A couple of good points there in chat. No, there's nothing wrong with protecting our country. You could have, on the gesture of the director, he stopped before finishing his sentence. Well, it seems that's all the time we have for today. The director shouted at the crew to stop recording. We both stood up and shook hands. Thank you for your valuable time, Mr. President. It was a pleasure. Can't say the same. Yeah, I think we should be, again, he's a reporter, right? We gotta be friendly with these guys. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you for coming to Sordland. I didn't have any trouble with this conversation. I said my truth, and, hopefully he reports it accurately, right? I hope to interview you again in the future, he says. Lucien walked up to the director and started talking to him. I went inside the building. I hope that went well. I think that went decently enough. I mean, it's a little rough. It wasn't super smooth, obviously, but I think that went all right. He brought up a lot of problematic topics, but I think that went all right. Let's see what's going on in Dare. Blutish opinion low. Really? Wow, that's a surprise. Captain Obvious over here. Unrest is rampant in Dare, with sentiment for President Rain at an all-time low. The Blutish citizens have faced oppression on par with President Saul's government. Blutish activists in Dare are calling for President Rain's resignation, and if their demands are not met, protests are expected to follow. You know, we should really find a way to maximize voter suppression in Dare and surrounding regions. Surely we can come up with some clever tactics to prevent the Blutes from voting. You know, not outright stop them from voting, but make it harder, right? Baby Pony, how's it going? Just passing by, wanted to say hello, and to all you party after years following you, I still deeply enjoy your content, especially Total War Warhammer and Crusader Kings. Thank you for being you, with lots of puns and this matter of detail. Sorry for my English, you know, French guys, blah, blah, blah. I mean, hey, you could do it in French. I'm like, my French is half decent, and then I could apologize for my French, but thank you so very much for the kind words. Your English is great. I understand exactly what you're going for there, buddy. There's nothing to apologize for. But no, thank you so very much. I appreciate you dropping by, and I appreciate the kind words very much, and I'm glad to hear you're enjoying Total War Warhammer and Crusader Kings both. Plenty more Total War Warhammer to come next year when 3 drops, eh? Very excited for that. And of course, Crusader Kings shall continue as well. Appreciate it greatly, buddy. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. And Gordon Bakoro, thank you very much for subscribing as well, buddy. Again, hope you're enjoying the show. If you are, you know what to do. I just noticed the Starship Troopers reference in chat. I can always get behind a good Starship Troopers reference. Lukewarm PR visit. What's going on here? Following a brief visit to Lackhaven, the president spent the afternoon meeting local citizens at Republic Avenue. Some swords chose to voice their disapproval of the administration, but President Rain handled the dissenting voices well, earning further loyalty from his base supporters. Promising? Promising? Yo, Jazzy B, February's gonna be wild. I'm looking forward to February, but also absolutely not. Royal Court and Warhammer 3 are going to release so close to each other, I'm gonna die. I mean, that's jokes aside. I'm very excited, but also, oh my god. Let's see what the news has to say before we dive into that. Geopolitical. Volksland occupies Helgeland. Perhaps we should change these colors then. This morning, Volkslandian forces have occupied Helgeland with only a small amount of casualties when the forces of Helgeland surrendered after the invasion that was executed yesterday. After the surrender, Chancellor Hegel had reclaimed Helgeland as part of Volksland and described the events as the triumph of freedom and reversal of historical injustices. Agnolian leader Van Horten condemned the invasion and the AN for leaving Agnolia alone and not interfering. This was a drastic first step of Volkslandian and Millennialist invasion in eastern Mercopa, and I'm warning those who allow them to do this. This is how liberty dies, he said. Agnolian Navy is also returned back to Stallport after a brief firefight with the Volkslandian forces. Wild. That is absolutely wild. We hadn't seen anything like this in our previous playthrough. That is insanity. Now, this is what you get, Agnolia. I feel personally responsible for their loss of territory, and I'm happy for it. They deserve it. Oh, I'm so excited for Royal Court. Royal Court looks ridiculously awesome. I'm so excited for Royal Court. It's so good. It's looking so good, man. It's looking so good. Alright, Graf Manor, the outskirts of Arvory. Private meeting with Lilius Graf. Oh boy. Not excited for this. This makes me nervous. The historic Graf Manor lay on the outskirts of Arvory at the end of a long, winding drive. Nearly 2 centuries old, it was as formidable as Lilius herself. Lilius had invited me here for a private dinner, just the two of us. I wasn't sure of her motivations, but was happy to have an excuse to escape the chaos back in Hallsword. Serge dropped me off at the door. It's only polite to knock. Oh no, Jazzy B, with the warning signs. I used the heavy brass door knocker to signal my arrival. The butler answered and showed me into the parlor. Gas lanterns lent the wood-paneled room a cozy orange glow. Lilius was sitting on the sofa. Above her hung a nearly life-size portrait of a sallow, unhappy-looking young woman in a lace ball gown. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, this is the only question that matters here, right? Which one is it? Unhappy-looking young woman in a lace ball gown. Grandmother, perhaps? Goddamn. This will determine the future of Sordland. This will determine our re-election campaign, I promise you. Mother, you think? We could go with Mother. No, she doesn't like us. She was on the verge of uncovering some potential truths about us, right? And she didn't like our interference there. I see quite a few calls for Mother. I see one call for Grandmother, 2 calls for Grandmother. We'll go with Mother. We'll go with Mother. I see so many. Is that your mother? Lilius nodded. Oh, thank God. I was her only child, you know. Giving birth to me left her medically unable to conceive. My father never could forgive her for not bearing him a son, and she never forgave me. Jesus Christ. Well, good morning to you as well. She took a measured sip of one of the 2 glasses of sparkling wine she was holding, and handed me the other. I mean, she's being quite friendly. I say, Jesus Christ, good morning to you as well, in jest. That's, she's being quite candid with us, which is promising. Sounds like a painful childhood. Get to the point. Why did you invite me here? No. Let's speak nicely, right? Wickles. Yay, generational trauma. Ain't that the truth? Sounds like a painful childhood. The silver lining is that despite personally despising me, they felt compelled to grant me all the advantages a son would have had, including the education I needed to rise to my current position. Oh geez, both of these sound rather passive-aggressive, don't they? A good despot does have charisma, it's true. A good despot needs charisma. Otherwise you go from despotic to deposed pretty quickly. Both of these are very passive-aggressive. Yeah, Natalie, I was worried about that, actually. No, that's me, from yesterday. I think 2 is a bit softer, yeah. Would you be so kind as to tell me why you invited me over? Nice story is, like, horribly sarcastic. Given how your wife spends her time these days, I thought you might be in need of a home-cooked supper. Whoa. Wow. Yo, that's a low blow. That's a lower blow than Mr. Sacker. The butler silently stepped into the parlor and rang a silver bell. Speaking of which... She led me into the dining room, where a glittering chandelier hung from the high ceiling. Beneath it was a long table set for 2. A woman in an apron and chef's hat, Wessex by her appearance, ceremoniously presented a roast rack of venison. I hope their cooks are better than their sculptors, am I right? Home-cooked supper. Yeah, it's like, does this count as home-cooked? A home-cooked meal is... I mean... As someone with traditional family values, I think a home-cooked meal is one that is cooked lovingly by one's significant other, you know? And when I say significant other, I don't think I necessarily mean a romantic partner. You know, it could be your son or daughter or whatever cooking for you, or, you know... I would hardly call this a home-cooked meal. But we are polite company. We're a guest in this house. Smells delicious. The groundskeeper shot it this morning. Okay, her level of wealth I did not understand until this meeting. She is rich. Lilius bowed her head and said a quick prayer, then motioned for me to dig in. It was some of the best meat I'd ever had. We ate in silence for a while. Then Lilius pensively laid down her cutlery. Mr. President, I wish I'd been consulted on this military parade decision. Is that really the best use of our time and resources given the mounting unrest in this country? And yes, it could be poisoned, Zuka Dragon. We don't know. It could very well be poisoned. The wine could have been poisoned. The food could be poisoned. But it doesn't seem like that's her MO right now. Aren't your police taking care of it? The police are taking care of it a little too well, I might add. Excuse me? Oh man. Neither of these are the answer that I wanted to give. Seal Tooth. I think so. There's no Mr. Graph on these grounds, at least right now. Geez. I'm thinking, aren't your police taking care of it? Kind of make her feel involved in some way, right? Let's try it. Aren't your police taking care of it? They're doing their best, but Sordland is far from safe. Lilius pursed her lips. Those leaked revelations certainly haven't helped matters. Which leaked revelations? You don't know anything about me. You pretended to know stuff about me, and I told you that you don't know anything about me. What the hell? I'm caught off guard here because I don't know what she's talking about. Because the last time we spoke, she was talking about my connections with Karanti, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. This stuff isn't accurate. And she's like, oh, okay. I suppose I could prod her for information. Alright, what do you think I should do about that? A strong leader would ignore the allegations and focus on winning the election, by all means necessary. Okay. I suppose we could have a friendly relationship here. That's not the answer I was expecting. Oh my god, Conrado, that's so true. Sordland is far from safe. Let me prove it to you. Just take a bite. Oh god. Choke and die. No. Thanks for everything you've done, Lilius. That's actually much more support than I was expecting to get from her. Lilius nodded. Anton, thank you for all the help you've given to my ministry during your term. I'm all the more grateful considering it wasn't even initially a priority of yours. I do wish you had heeded my request to place the gendarmerie under my jurisdiction, but I was thrilled when you recognized Swordish School's right to religious expression over Miss Walda's ridiculous objections. I was less enthused about your decision to pump our children full of strange chemicals in response to some unconfirmed health threat. Regardless, I'm looking forward to working more closely together during your next term. Yo, this is completely different from last playthrough. Like, this is a polar opposite. Completely different. Me too, if it means more excellent dinners like this. I'll drink to that, I think is a nice kind of friendly way of putting it without sounding too, I don't know, chauvinistic or whatever. She's a part of the old guard, but she's not an oligarch. Will this drink kill me? I'll drink to that. Lilius raised her glass and smiled. We clinked glasses. By the end of the meal, I was pleasantly full and a little tipsy. The butler had to lead me back through the manor's winding corridors until I found the door. I waved at Lilius out the window as Serge pulled away. The coming campaign would be turbulent, but at least I had her on my side. Or so I hoped. We are in a very unfamiliar territory here, folks. I have no idea how that's going to potentially play out. Not a clue. Not a damned clue. Back at Hallsword, meanwhile, we have our military parade. It was an unusual day for the residents of Hallsword. Regularly used streets and avenues were blocked off by the military personnel. Many shops and cafes. You know, I was just thinking, oh wow, we haven't had a crash in some time. I was just thinking it, and bam, I jinxed it without saying it out loud. But right, sorry. It was an unusual day for the residents of Hallsword. Regularly used streets and avenues were blocked off by the military personnel. Many shops and cafes were closed, and once crowded stores were now empty. Instead, thousands of residents in Hallsword were concentrated in one street, Victory Avenue. Stretching out through the heart of Hallsword, people on both sides of the road were waving their Swordish flags proudly for the military parade. I was getting prepared to embark on my trip. It was going to be a short drive down the Victory Avenue until we reached Maroon Palace. My company for this trip was Yosef, with Serge, as usual, driving the presidential car. Yosef approached me. He was wearing his decorated ceremony outfit. He carried a sword with a goat head at the handle and his pistol by his hip. He put on his cap. Mr. President, we're almost ready. We'll depart right after the tank column. Rumburg will think twice after today. They will tremble before the Swordish military might. After hearing the loud thump of a book falling down to the floor, he turned to a couple privates that were doing their preparations on schedule and started walking in their direction. Private, can't you do your job properly? I watched the young soldiers perform a lousy salute to Yosef. What is that salute, soldier? Watch! This is a real salute! He performed an excellent salute, and after scolding the privates, he walked back. strict as ever. Old habits die hard. Surge appeared from the entrance and joined us. Mr. President? Mr. Lancea? Surge performed a salute to Yosef, which made Yosef smile under his mustache. At ease, Mr. Walkner. Are we ready to depart yet? Yes, sir. Follow me, please. We started following Surge through the corridors. Mr. President, have you seen the tanks? Our planes, too? Roomberg will be so scared when they see this. That is the plan. A great one, I'd say. My kids were very excited to wake up today. You know, to see the planes fly. Surge, where did you do your military service? Morna, 7th Artillery Squadron. I still talk with many of my friends from those days. Camaraderie of military is never forgotten. I still talk with many from my days as well. What about you, sir? All over Sordland. You know, Mr. President was under my command once. Gumran Outpost. He turned to me. You remember those days? Who can forget about Major Lancea? We called him the Relentless. Yosef let out a long laugh. Good old days. Oh, we're here, sir. Surge is the best. Surge is the best. And before we get into this, thank you to Flak Armor coming through with a super chat. Whatever happens, we can't let it end before we go full dictator. Live, I know. We must survive, right? I'm not expecting a JFK moment. I think I saw someone mention that. I'm not expecting to go the way of JFK. No, I hope we make it to full dictator. But yes, Flak Armor, thank you for the vote of confidence and for the super chat. As always, it really helps support the channel, really helps support these streams, keeps it all sustainable and viable, and I appreciate it greatly. Thank you very, very much. Now onwards with this parade. We exited the building and walked over to the clearance where the Black Cadilla, the presidential car, was waiting. It was decorated properly for the event, and the top canopy had been removed so that we could stand and wave to people. Oh no, I was just saying I was hoping we wouldn't go the way of JFK, and then this gets mentioned. Oh no. And yeah, whatever the playthrough is, you can't not like Surge, though I'm a little worried. He hasn't given us any lucky charm or anything this time around. Not yet, at least. On the way to the car, generals and admirals were lined up on both sides of the carpet. The atmosphere immediately changed when these experienced men who fought many times for their country saluted me. I saluted back with respect. We entered the car and Surge started the engine. Yosef was standing right next to me. The car started rolling. Even though there were many walls and trees in between the car and the crowd, I was able to hear the deafening sounds of cheering Sordish citizens. Gradually, we made our way to the starting point. A group of 10, maybe 12 latest technology S-16 fighter jets flew above our heads, and I thought that the engine sounds was going to leave me deaf. Loud footsteps of the marching soldiers were followed by loud noises coming from tank engines. The tanks came into my view. They were not the most modern models, however they displayed our military might. I couldn't even finish my thought, and one of the tanks broke down and had to be towed. That's unfortunate. I was hoping that was not going to happen, considering we invested money into the military this time around. We waited for a few minutes for the announcement. Finally, it was our turn. On both sides of the Victory Avenue, there were numerous citizens cheering my name, waving their Sordish flags. I saluted. Looking at the benches where the general staff was sitting at, I saw Tarkin Sol sitting next to General Volkan. We kept our slow and steady pace. We were almost at the Arthur S. Whiskey statue, several hundred meters away. A group of soldiers saluted me as we passed by. They looked proud and stout in the new infantry uniforms with the brand new rifles. We continued on as per the schedule and finally arrived at the Maroon Palace, which marked the end of the parade. People of Hallsword dispersed to their homes. A clear message was sent to Roomberg by the display of our military might. We were about to see whether it would be enough or not. That broken down tank was unfortunate, but hopefully it did enough. Hopefully the parade did enough overall. One broken down tank amidst all that new technology, amidst all those new fighters and things like that. Nothing like a toad tank to inspire fear in our enemies. Yeah, it shows that, look, we are prepared even if our tanks break down to continue onwards. Nothing can stop us, right? We did live through the parade. I was a little nervous, I'm not going to lie. Lilius was being awfully polite to us. We did live through the parade. But it's only a matter of time before we see how Rumburg feels about that parade and how the world feels about that parade as well. To the next turn. If I'm not mistaken, the last turn. The will of the state. This is where we find out if everything we've worked for and everything we've worked towards bears fruit. I'm a little nervous. We've done well in many ways, but in so many ways, we've been pushed back. The economy is looking all right still, so that's promising. Budget's still at -1. There is one piece of news to read, and there is one event for us to dive into. Let's take a look at the newspaper and see what Geopolitico has to say. I think this is turn 10. The end is near. Yeah, that was turn 9 that we just finished. Turn 10, the end is near. We might actually finish this playthrough before before the 1 year mark, right? Because we might still have a stream next Friday that is this, because we're not going to see the end in the next 5 minutes. Geopolitico says, world leaders to gather at Alliance of Nations. Oh yes, those infamous moments of the Alliance of Nations. Calling for a session on the current affairs, world leaders will be gathering at Alliance of Nations next week. The main highlights from the upcoming agenda were announced, and as expected, they will be around the current issues in Eastern Merkopa. In addition to the member states from the region, President Walker and Chairman Maliniev will be delivering their speeches at the Assembly. All eyes will turn to Constantium Kairut as the historic session will be taking place in the Alliance of Nations headquarters. It's gonna be interesting. What's going on at Hallsword? We have the schedule for the Alliance of Nations session. We have received the schedule for the upcoming Alliance of Nations session. According to the dates outlined, Sordland 1 is being prepared for the flight to Constantium Kairut. Minister of Foreign Affairs David Whiskey will be attending the session as well as accompanying Mr. President on the flight, which means Sordland 1 flight to Kairut is all about our Alliance of Nations meeting and representation, and hopefully avoiding war with Rumburg, hopefully preventing the end of Swordish sovereignty, and hopefully also signaling a new Rain-led era when we get re-elected. But folks, all that and more will have to wait until next time. I'm thinking next session we will play for as long as it takes to end the playthrough, so that we do end, yes, before my birthday. My birthday will be next week, Saturday. Again, we started playing Suzerain on my birthday as like a kind of a joke, like, I'd be president for a day. How funny is that for a birthday thing? So it's kind of interesting to think about, yes, a whole year of Suzerain 2 playthroughs with very different like story beats and moments and potentially different outcomes as well. I'm curious how it all plays out, but I'm thinking next week, Friday, folks, we'll kick things off at the same time as always, but maybe we'll go on until we see the end of the playthrough and see how it all plays out. Hope you had a good time today. If you did, you know what to do. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out, whether you were watching live or the VOD, of course. A ginormous thanks to our super chatters today coming through with that support. It really does mean a tremendous deal. The kind words, the votes of confidence, and also, of course, the support really does, as I say always, help keep all this just sustainable, keeps it all possible. On which note, of course, no session is truly done without giving a... Oh, come on now. Come on now, give me that credit screen. It's always got to be broken. Got to break my segue. Without giving a massive thanks to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Again, y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks to each and every one of you for watching. Again, whether you're watching live or you're watching the VOD, without all of you, this wouldn't be a thing. So I appreciate it greatly. Thank you very, very much. I do think we had a good session today, Dangerous Person. I'm very happy with today's session. We made a lot of progress. I feel like we made all the right calls, made all the right moves. I think we've set ourselves up for relative success. The economy's looking good. The budget is only slightly at a deficit. Like, things are looking promising. Things are looking promising. We'll see. Folks, enjoy your Fridays. I hope it's absolutely wonderful. If I don't catch you over the weekend, then enjoy your weekends as well. I intend to hang out in the Discord for at least some time. I need I need some relaxation after another crazy week. So hopefully I'll catch you in the Discord over the course of this weekend at some point in time. But if I don't, then hopefully I'll catch you on Monday when we come back with more Crusader Kings 3 action as well, live at the same time as always. But whether I catch you today, tomorrow, day after, Monday, whenever I catch you, until I catch you, cheers.